Good morning, folks, and welcome to Cape Ann Animal Aid for another special edition of Cape Ann Today.
Very
I'm Kory
special.
Curcuru, alongside Heather Atwood, as always. And joining us is the Executive Director of Cape Ann Animal Aid, Suniva Buck. How are you, Suniva?
Hello, I'm very well. And you? Thanks for coming out today.
Yeah. So what is it like just being able to work here every day with these little guys running around?
It's never boring. They always keep us entertained. They're always up to some mischief. And this one's going to help us take notes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, lots of. Write some questions, Yoshi.
Yeah,
Write some questions.
You know, what we get to do is really a job that has a lot of light spots and a lot of love in it. And we get to see, yes, and spend our day with these lovable guys. So no complaints.
So who are these
Whoops.
guys?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they're available for adoption,
These
right?
guys
Not
are,
claimed.
yep, they are available for adoption. This is Yoshi, the active one up here on top of the desk helping
Yeah.
with notes. And YOLO is in Heather's lap, and this is Yelp here. And they are a litter of three rescues from Georgia, a group we work with out of there that does some transport to us of dogs and cats. And they are all a little over 3 months old, and they are eager and waiting to find families of their own.
Yeah.
And I really recommend YOLO because he's so steady
Yeah.
and calm, and he just wants to be on this lap and cuddle. And Yoshi, on the other hand, you are just the cutest
Very
little thing.
busy,
Yeah,
very
you're so
inquisitive,
busy.
Love a kid.
very
Yeah, but we love that
curious.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Suniva, explain that. You say they're from Georgia. Can you explain how, because we hear this all the time
Yeah.
from you and other shelters and whatnot, is the transportation and the work that goes into finding these rescues and then transporting them back here and then, I guess, getting their meds all up to snuff before they're
Yeah,
adopted.
so, right, there is a big process. So basically, we work with partners in other areas of the country and beyond where there is still some real serious overpopulation issues.
Yoshi, no, that's what you can't do.
Don't eat the mic.
And so there is not as many adoptive homes in those areas, and we're able to partner up with those rescuers. So they do the initial on-the-ground rescue of these guys and start rehabbing them and doing some basic vetting care for them. They usually keep them for a matter of weeks to months in their care, and then we coordinate with them based on what we have for space and resources available here, and we schedule and we bring them in. They have to go into specific isolation rooms on arrival. That's required by the Mass Department of Ag, the shelter program, and they spend a minimum of 48 hours in isolation to watch for any kind of disease that they could be carrying, make sure everybody's healthy. They get a veterinary exam by Dr. Beckett before they're released from isolation, and then we follow up on the rest of their routine care, vaccines, dewormers, spay-neuter surgeries, sometimes sick care, whatever their particular needs are. We evaluate personalities. We might work on some behavioral issues with these guys, depending, and then they're put up for adoption.
This litter seems particularly healthy. I mean,
Yes,
their coats
yes.
are shiny, and
Yeah.
they just seem like
Yeah,
like just
our
like
rescuers
beautiful.
and our staff here all do a really great job. Our volunteer team, everybody's vested in taking care of all of these animals from the time that they're found in the state they're found till they're here and finding themselves happy homes.
So, Suniva, here at Four Paws Lane,
Yes,
right?
Four
right
Paws.
behind Beechbrook Cemetery over in West Gloucester. So you're dealing mostly with dogs and cats, right? Is that
Correct.
exclusively?
Yes, exclusively dogs and cats.
And
Yep.
how, like, not to throw a number at this, but like during the month, how many adoptables are you dealing with here?
Typically over 100 in any given month. I mean, our average population hovers anywhere between 60 and 100 animals at any given time that you'll usually find in our care. Between the shelter and our foster homes, we also have a pretty extensive foster network, and so if folks are interested in that, can't make a long-term pet commitment, but would like to help out and provide a safe harbor and a home for somebody for a short period of time, fostering is a great opportunity and something we're very appreciative of.
It's an interesting point because I start to hear, and Heather, I'm sure you have too, of more and more families who are fostering now, which makes more sense for them.
Yeah, and for the animals, I mean, it helps give them some skills. Some of them have never spent time in a home, and so it gives them that ability to learn how to do stairs or get used to a vacuum or a TV before their forever family is found. So, yeah.
So I always talk about my dog Ruby, who we rescued here a couple of years ago, and she had been in in a foster home during COVID, and it was so fun. I met her over video.
Yes.
But it just still strikes me as amazing that she had lived on the streets, and she was so acclimated and so easy to have in our house and be a human with. It's really striking how well they adapt, right?
Yeah, and a lot of
This one's ready to be a movie star.
A lot of them have had some experience in homes too, and then for a variety of reasons have found themselves abandoned. So sometimes it's not their first home experience, but they've spent time on the street or alone in between.
So one thing we noticed in Eva driving up this morning was the huge crater next to the building. So what is
Yes.
going on here today?
Yeah, so we're super excited about this. This is our expansion. It's called the Wing of Hope, and it is a project. We actually had a local supporter, Yvonne Wood, approached us last year and wanted to see some ways that she could help the shelter, specifically in honor and memory of her husband Walter Wood, who had a big passion for animals. And I'm just trying to make sure she doesn't take a leap off the table at the same time as we talk about our expansion. So the Wing of Hope is going to be 2 stories, and it's going to provide us with 3 additional sort of special care rooms, which can serve as isolation rooms or can serve as specialty housing as we need it, as well as a veterinary care and recovery room. That's all going to be on the first floor, and some laundry facilities. And then on the second floor, we're going to have sort of an enrichment corner, a large indoor room that we can use for a variety of purposes, for indoor play groups, for training, for people activities and pet activities, as well as some adoption space and behavior space upstairs. So we're super excited about that. And part of the Wing of Hope project is some capital improvements to the existing building too. So we're going to be adding solar panels to the roof so we can help provide our own energy in the future. We're going to be adding extra laundry facilities upstairs. I always joke, but to the average person, that's not very exciting. To us, that's hugely exciting.
One thing I've always taken away from our conversations, Neva, is how important the laundry
Yeah,
is here.
yeah. And lugging dirty laundry up and down, through the elevator or the stairs is no fun. So you'll be able to do laundry in your department, so that'll make a big difference for our team. We're also going to be updating our cat room cages and sort of revamping some of that space. So there's lots of different parts of this project, and we're very excited about it. Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's giving us a big opportunity. And the space we have right now, we have 3 rooms that we use for isolation purposes. But sometimes we have animals in our care that need specialized housing. Like we had a dog, Marilla, who was here with us for several months and was reactive in the kennel, was stressed out by other dogs and lots of activity around her. But when we could give her a separate space, she could let her loving personality shine. So that allowed us, to care for her in a way that she needed. But in order to do that, we also then had to say no or cancel different transport trips and things like that because we didn't have that room available while she was in it. So this will allow us to be a lot more flexible and have some of that space to provide without having to say no to a litter of these 3 guys kind of thing.
Interesting.
So it's not so much expanding the number of pets you can have, but more the quality
The
of the
quality,
programming.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So Neva, you come such a long way from being this little place down on Main Street. Huh?
Yeah,
right?
I lovingly refer to it as our Pepto-Bismol building. It was that pink stucco for those that remember when we were on Main Street. Yeah. Our entire building kind of fit in this, probably in this room.
Right. Well, and now to think now about just how huge the operation is and how much care you've been able to provide for countless animals is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So if people want to learn more about Animal Aid, how can they go about doing that? How are is there a process to finding fosters or volunteers, or so maybe just some information about those things?
Absolutely. So on our website, you can go to our volunteer tab. That's got information on all the different volunteer opportunities we have. There's the volunteer application there. It gives you an example of schedule and commitment and job descriptions. And the same thing, there's opportunity there to learn more about and apply to become a foster as well. So I definitely recommend folks check out our website. They're also welcome to stop in and say hello during our open hours as well.
At any given moment, how many volunteers are actually part of?
We have. I'll shout out to Jane. Do you know what our current active volunteer number is right now? 150.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So. And we count on them. I mean, we really do.
right.
Like, we plan out our day based on the volunteer help we're going to have in the building. So it really does make an impact. If our volunteers aren't available to cover their shift, that means one less person taking care of all of these guys, and how can we pivot and make sure they're still getting what they need. So we definitely rely on our volunteers and our foster volunteers too. I mean, that allows, like I was saying earlier, these animals to have that home experience, which can be crucial. Like Marilla that I was talking about, she spent some time in foster, and that really allowed her to shine, to see how her personality would be in a home. Because the shelter can be very stressful for animals, and they don't always present in the same way that they would once they're settled into a home. So.
Did Marilla find a forever
She
home?
did,
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
They
yeah.
all
She's
do.
very
Yeah,
loved,
they
very
all
loved.
do.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
So Suneva, for me, I guess for those folks in the public who haven't been here before, what is the experience like for them when they come in? What can they, obviously they want to see
Yep.
the dogs and cats, but just kind of walk us through what they can expect.
Yeah, so when they come in to visit, they check in at our reception desk. We check folks in, and we do limit the number of people up in the animal areas, and that's for multiple reasons, so that we can continue to provide care for the animals and for the people that are here visiting. And we have kissing fest going on
Yeah.
here. When folks come to visit, we do ask them to pick one section, cats or dogs, and again, for the same reason, so that we can provide care for everyone, our visitors and our pets. If you're interested in adopting a pet, we have you fill out an application. It's online. You can do it on your phone. We have iPads and things here that we can help you fill out if you don't have a smartphone with you. Once we approve the application, then you can spend one-on-one time with the animal, see if it's the right match for you or not. And the reason we do that is so you're welcome to walk around in our space and see our animals, but to spend that one-on-one time, it is with an approved application. And that's because if we get 30 visitors in a day and all 30 people want to spend time with this little guy, but aren't in a position to adopt, by the time the 31st family comes in who is looking to take home a puppy, he might just be really overwhelmed and done with visitors. Like, we forget, just like people, they all have their personal space needs, and they can be overwhelmed sometimes with our best of intention, with affection, and so we try to be mindful of that too in their interactions and not put them through too much.
Right.
So we are coming upon the holidays. How does the Cape Ann Animal Aid feel about holiday adoptions?
Actually, we've found over the years that holiday adoptions are not a bad thing. Most of our adopters that come in for a holiday adoption have been thinking about it as a family, and so it's not truly an impulse decision. It's something that has been discussed and mulled around. So we don't frown upon holiday adoptions. We don't have a higher return rate around holidays than we do any given time that we're adopting out a specific number of pets.
Yeah.
So, which is nice, because I know in the
great,
past
yeah.
a lot of folks would kind of be leery about that, but that's not something that we are seeing in our adoptions. Not to say that it might not be something that impacts other areas, but we don't see a high rate of return based off of a holiday adoption only.
And I'm sure you're going through your year-end appeal
Yes.
right now. So should we
Yeah.
make the appeal? And
This
and
one should make
also-
the appeal.
Yeah, I know. And then when
Absolutely.
people help out, especially this time of year, what does that? Where does that help go?
So that help goes to all of our operations, basically. That help helps keep these lights on for these guys, the building warm, the building cool in the summer, the disinfectants we need to clean their areas, the medical supplies we need to provide for them, the staffing we need to help take care of them. It provides for upkeep of the building, their play yards, all of those pieces, the toys, the food they eat. The enrichment, the games they get to play. That's what your support goes to. It helps take care of all of these guys from the time they arrive to the time they go into their new homes. And sometimes a little bit after, too. We also provide some post-adoption support with behavioral counseling as well as with veterinary care in the first couple of weeks post-adoption, because folks are finding that a difficult time to get into a new vet sometimes. So that's what all of the funds support. Our spay-neuter programs, our routine daily care, all of that.
And are there any
And our
physical
transport stuff, too.
physical items that you're
Oh,
asking
sure.
to be donated as well?
Yeah, always. Paper towels, trash bags, disinfecting bleach. We go through sort of newspapers, sheets, flat sheets, not fitted sheets, towels, those kind of bedding. But we use postage stamps, printing paper. All of these guys have cage cards and records that go with them. So a lot of times folks don't think about those kind of things, but office supplies are definitely used here. Training treats, like little soft training treats. We use all kinds of things like hot dogs and cheese sticks and canned tuna and jarred baby food meat. All of those things help. Churros for the cats, they love those. If we've got guys that are stressed and their appetite's a little down, all of those kind of things. Canned, pureed wet food for the cats, wet food for the dogs. So there's sponges, dish soap, hand soap,
Jeez.
dishwasher tabs, sort of what you think of that you use in your house to clean, we're using that tenfold.
Yeah.
So.
Very cool. Well, is there anything else you want folks to know out there about Cape Ann Animal Aid before we let you go?
That we are incredibly thankful for the support we get from the whole community, because we really are blessed here with that. And we hope that you consider us with your year-end giving and consider supporting our operations, which is keeping all of these guys well cared for, as well as our Wing of Hope project. And you can find out more information about that and naming opportunities, things like that, on our website. Or you can feel free to reach out to us, give us a call, stop in to visit, or email, and we're happy to chat with you.
Yeah, and to piggyback that, Suneva, when you think about Cape Ann Animal Aid's place in the community, I mean, because it's a big deal.
Yeah,
What
we're
does
very
that mean
blessed.
to you and the folks working here?
It's a huge honor, really, that we have so much support from the community and so many people that want to be involved and help out the animals here. We really live in a wonderful part of the country. The people here are very compassionate and passionate and care deeply about animals, and that's evident in how much support we do get and the adoptions that happen.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
This guy likes everything.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Suneva, we thank you so much for your time and your hospitality here
Thank
today.
you.
Not for
Thank
just
you.
these guys, but for us as well. So
Absolutely.
happy
We love
holidays, right? And if
Yep.
people want to learn more, you can go to capeannanimalaid.org, right?
Yep,
Okay,
absolutely.
Suneva Buck, Executive Director of Cape Ann Animal Aid, thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be back with Dr. Alex
I
Beckett
just
right
want to play
after
with the
this.
puppies. That's
And we're back at Cape Ann Animal Aid for another special edition of Cape Ann Today. Heather and I are now joined by the in-house veterinarian, you heard me correctly, Dr. Alex Beckett, a return guest to
Hi.
Cape Ann Today. Alex, how you doing?
Nice to see you guys again. It's really fun that you guys are back here. This
Yeah.
is great.
great to see you. I think last year was your first year. Was that our
I
first
think this
interview
is
with
my
you?
third anniversary.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
so
Time flies.
I'm old school.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, right off the bat, Alex, it's the luxury of a shelter like this to have an in-house veterinarian. What does that mean for these little guys and girls?
Well, for these kids, certainly they get access to care quickly. We don't have to try to schedule an appointment for these guys. Veterinarians are very busy still these days, and so it's hard to get an appointment. And so if you've got 25 shelter puppies that need to be spayed and neutered, they're going to be waiting a while. So they're able to be, their medical needs and their preventative care and all of those things are able to be addressed really quickly. They can call me morning, noon, and night. I work 8 days a week, and so, if there's an emergency for some reason, I'm available. So it's fun. And it's great for me because I get a job that I love.
Right.
I think maybe it was last year when we were here, you had this kitten that you had just received, a very fluffy little kitten who couldn't eat and his eye was funky. And I think you'd seen remarkable progress just like in 24 hours. So tell us just a couple of the stories of animals arriving here and just needing care and making it through to be adopted.
It's fun because I used to work at a zoo and I did an internship in wildlife medicine. So I've done a lot of different things. And some of my colleagues ask me, like, aren't you bored at the shelter? Don't you just do dogs and cats and spays and neuters? This year I reshaped the way that a kitten's chest was shaped. There's a condition called pectus excavatum where the sternum kind of bulges in. And it was so dramatic in this little kitten that it was actually pushing the heart over. So we made this, actually, I think I have it. We made this little chest brace.
Wow.
And so what we did is we threaded sterile suture through the sternum, and we were able to very gently pull over a matter of weeks, much like braces, we were able to correct the indent. And so she did fabulously, and she's gotten adopted. And so, it's never a dull moment.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
Yeah.
It's amazing how fast some of these animals bounce back from big surgeries like that too.
Incredible. It's incredible.
So what are the day-to-day activities are you doing here? Is like anything from teeth cleanings to something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a little bit of dentistry here. We don't have a full dental capabilities like some multi-specialty hospitals, but today I'm examining 13 animals that came in and they're going to get their isolation surgeries to do today, and we're going to take care of anybody else that needs anything else. So updating vaccines, making sure that they have their preventative medicines like dewormers, heartworm prevention, flea and tick medications, things like that. Double check and make sure that whoever has a cold is getting better and getting on the right things. And so we really do everything that a regular veterinary hospital would do, except all of our patients just live upstairs.
Yeah. So go ahead, Heather. Sorry.
How do you cure the cold in an animal?
Oh boy, that's kind of a loady question in the sense that it depends on the cold. I'm afraid you'll rarely get a direct answer out of most veterinarians,
Yeah.
but you're right. Sometimes antibiotics are required, especially if there's a secondary bacterial infection. Sometimes it's just a little tincture of thyme and some good food and let the animal's immune system take care of it. Just making sure that nobody else gets sick as well.
So did you want to touch upon the vaccine clinics?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, the other thing that we're kind of doing is community outreach is the big thing right now. And so we've started a rabies and microchip clinic. So folks in the community can sign up online. They can actually sign up on our event page. And, we want to make sure that the animals in the community, not just our shelter animals, are vaccinated and healthy because it's a public health issue. So we'll get you the rabies vaccine. We'll get you a microchip if you need one.
And these are inexpensive procedures too.
No cost to the owner and minimal cost for the vaccines.
That's great.
For the
That's
vaccines, And so these are easy things. And some people just have a hard time getting into their vet clinic for these rabies vaccines and things like that. So I think that's a good outlet. We also have our Spay Mama program, which you'll be meeting some of those kittens later. So on the off chance that somebody's female cat gets pregnant, once those kittens are born, we'll find good homes for those kittens, and we'll also spay the mom so it doesn't happen again. And so that's a really great opportunity for folks to use. We've got our post-adoption, like Suneva was talking about, our post-adoption capabilities. For the first 2 weeks after you adopt an animal, if something goes wrong, snotty noses, jumped off the couch, things like that, we're a resource. And for the first month after an adoption, if you're having trouble getting into your veterinarian to update those vaccines, we'd much rather do those vaccines and make sure your pet is healthy and up to date as opposed to wait for those.
That's a great resource.
The other thing that we've been doing lately is through the Mass Animal Fund. Has a great program where you can either sign up through your animal control officer or you can sign up here at the shelter. And if these folks are on any kind of financial assistance, they can get a certificate to have their dog or cat spayed or neutered.
Oh, that's
And
great.
so it's
That's
a really
great.
great opportunity to, really reach out into the community and try to help out the public health, not just the specific health of these shelter animals, but really the public health of the community.
So here's a question. In these states that maybe are not quite as supportive to animals and care, maybe the states where a lot of these animals are coming from, what's going on there? Do you feel like there's a policy issue that these animals are,
Yeah,
there's
it's
so many of them?
tough to speak to that. Sometimes there are cultural influences that sorry, honey, that cultural influences that sort of dissuade people from spaying and neutering their dogs and that kind of responsible pet ownership and things like that. There's also, in Massachusetts, we've got a real cold season, so cats don't tend to reproduce as quickly over the winter
Oh, so
as
interesting.
opposed to in southern states where it's warm most of the time and the reproductive capabilities of their feral animals are year round. Over the pandemic, there was a lot of spay neuter and trap neuter release and those kinds of programs. They had to be put on hold for a little bit. So sometimes we're seeing some population growth in those kinds of areas.
So, Dr. Beckett, before we let you go, what is on your schedule today?
He's got a lot of surgeries.
Yeah.
He's got a lot,
I
work to
have
do.
2 spays, 5 neuters, and then 13 quarantine exams, and then whatever anybody else needs.
Jeez, look at that.
Are these guys all ready to go?
These kids are ready to go, and she might come home with me. She's
I
a ham
know.
sandwich. Hi,
She
pumpkin.
is such a cute one. They all are, though.
And Alex, of course, it is the holiday season, and we're talking about the year-end appeal again.
Yes.
So if you have a chance to talk directly to the folks at Cape Ann right now, just, your appeal, I suppose.
I guess my appeal would start with a big fat chunk of gratitude because the generosity and the support of the community has enabled me to start and run this shelter veterinary program. And it's been a huge boon. I mean, yeah, it's been a great for all the animals in the community, but it's awesome for me. And, we're still in need of medical care and support, either financially through donations and things like that. Anybody that's taken their dog or cat to the vet knows that that's a pretty hefty bill, and we got to foot that bill. And so the financial support is really important to us, and the continued support of the community.
Well said. Well, we appreciate the work you do here, Dr. Beckett. It's always great catching up.
Great.
Happy holidays to you and yours. Thanks for your time.
You guys as well.
All right, we'll see you soon. That is Dr. Alex Beckett. He is the director of shelter medicine here at Cape Ann Animal Aid. We'll be back with a behavior specialist, Heather. Perhaps our crew
I need
could probably
one.
use as well. Yeah. Nikki Petronio joins us right after this. Nikki Petronio is a behavior associate here at Cape Ann Emily, and she joins us now with a four-legged friend. Nikki, how you doing again?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
Thanks for being back with us. All right, who do we have with us today?
You know what? I forget this guy's name. I'm gonna
Oh, it doesn't matter.
push into
we go.
Jane.
All cute.
Yeah.
And
All
what,
cute.
and
Like, we
what
got in a lot of
exactly is
kittens
going
and-
on here?
So I like to. I was gonna say I joke, but this is a fact. I have the best job here. And so this is an enrichment toy. We actually, our vet tech helped me with this one. She saw it on the internet. And
So
we
you just created
saved,
this?
yeah, we saved these bottle caps and we put catnip inside the caps. And then she got this at Five Below at the mall. It's a little fish that swims around. And then this bucket, I was told by our doctor, is an organ bucket, but we do not put organs in it here. We put
there you
cats in
go.
it. So
So this little fish is not sold as a cat toy. It's sold as.
I don't think so.
Well, it should
Well,
be.
everything's a cat toy for
Right,
us.
exactly,
So
yeah.
bottle caps are cat toys.
Yeah.
And so the
You just took a
Splish splash.
tumble.
oh my god, I'm glad he likes it. So
He's,
we can't afford to fix
so
the
we need to
equipment.
name
so.
you right now. We're going to name you Fish. Okay, let's just name you Fish.
So now, what behavior are we working on here? How is this cat being enriched? Is it just playtime?
Yeah, pretty much. So enrichment is geared towards, first of all, the species, and second, the individual animal. And so with a cat, enrichment, we really want to gear to allowing the animal to perform natural behaviors. That's something in captivity, even though these are domesticated animals, and they've really adapted to living in human society, we still need to allow them to do cat things or dog things. I always say, let them cats, just let them be a cat. So in the wild, and again, even though this is a domesticated cat, cats are out hunting for food or fishing or exploring. So it's just to kind of add some of that to keep them enriched. I know it's the point of calling it enrichment. I should say this in itself is not necessarily enrichment. It depends on if this guy thinks it's enriching. So I did this with my cat at home and he was like, whatever. A big hit with the cats is cardboard boxes. I don't know why cats love boxes. I don't know if it's a sense of security with the walls around, but that was just so funny because I was racking my brain putting together cat toys. And they all were like, forget about this, and just went into the box. I'm like, okay. Tough crowd, but easy crowd at the same time. So these are a little bit more intricate and fun. But we like to use them just to get a lot of good videos for the social medias too, because people will
good
see
video.
them and people will see this guy and see how adorable he is. He's leaving our table.
What's that job?
So,
No, you
Nikki,
stay here.
what
Stay
do,
here.
do your duties here include? What are you working on a day-to-day basis?
So I do the behavior, the training, the enrichment. So it's a one-man department now, but also it's a team job. So we're all kind of working together to start this department. I've been here about a year, so it's still working from the ground up. So a lot of it is doing fun stuff like this, making preschool art. And I would say kind of like the bigger piece of my job is defining behaviors that we see in our animals sometimes.
Great for
So we're defining some
I have to
of
have a word
the,
with our behavior associate after the show.
and I'm like, that is not trained on recall. Yeah, we just let them roam free here.
Yeah.
So defining behaviors that can just kind of help. We're in kind of a weird environment. So if you called me and said, can you help me train my dog, or clearly the cats aren't trained here, then I would say, okay, let's start in a really low distracting environment. And training is really just teaching and learning. It's just like a silly name that we put on it because it's non-human learners. But it's literally, there's no difference. So obviously in how we apply that teaching is different because our dogs don't speak English. But we would want to start with no distractions. And in a shelter world, there's always distraction. So having a trainer in a shelter doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to get a perfectly trained dog. What we do more of is we see dogs who come in, and cats, they come in from transports from other states. They're on buses for hours and all by these rescue groups who are really doing the best that they can. And then we want to help them feel comfortable and help them adapt. It's a lot to come in. Then they go through ISO as a state protocol. And a lot of them are really, really stressed, and it's sad. It's not fair to them. So that's kind of, I'm like the Patch Adams here. So
And what does the
dated
stress
myself
look
on
like?
that.
What does the stress look like? And how can you tell? Like those puppies we just saw, they did not look stressed. Right?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
So it depends. So that's a good question because we don't, in behavior, we try to keep everything really objective, which kind of creates a struggle in language while talking to human clients. And so what that means is stress might look different for me, to you, to that kitten, to the puppy who just left, because it's individual, but we can define what behaviors might be included in stress. So stress, for example, is not a behavior. It's a cluster of behaviors. So it could be, a dog is spinning in his kennel and he's showing that's kind of a neurotic behavior. That's not a healthy or natural behavior that we really want. So something like that. Or even we have wonderful, really sweet little puppies now who, when dogs walk by their kennels, what it looks like is barking and growling and lunging. We call it barrier reactivity. Again, that's just a label. But we as a shelter kind of work together to, okay, if we're going to use labels like stress or reactivity, what does that look like? So when we're using this label, we're still kind of all on the same page. So yeah, I guess stress, the short answer that I just made long, is it depends on the individual, but a lot of times we see that maladaptation. There are more subtle signs of stress, like lip licking in dogs. Obviously, context matters. If I'm giving my dog peanut butter and he's licking his lips, then that's one thing. But if I'm asking my dog to do something, maybe come over and he kind of sits down and scratches and licks his lip, that's typically a lower level stress behavior. So yeah, it's a lot of body language, I guess. That would have been the quickest way to answer that question.
Do I have time for a personal question? All right.
To me or to Nick?
What am I being asked?
No, so I have a very a large stress situation in my household right now with between two cats. So I have a dog and two cats.
Okay.
And we received a kitten last spring, and we already had a dog and a cat. And the older cat hates this kitten.
Okay.
And it's been, 9 or 10 months, and it's not better. And this cat was the older cat was such a sweet, loving, incredibly kind, just great animal. And now she's mean, and she hisses at everybody, and she's
poor girl.
really upset.
Okay.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, so I would say, I would start with what does it look like now in terms to which kitty has access to which space in your house? Like, are they both just out free roaming?
Yeah.
I was going to say, so part of my job too is I'm like Sherlock Holmes with all these questions. So when people ask me a question, I have like 400 to ask back.
That's okay.
Because we need to paint a big picture of there's a lot that goes, the vet was laughing at me because I wrote down behavior doesn't work in a vacuum. And so a context in your house might be different than someone else's house. So I would say separate them, maybe take a step backwards. This is a training error that all of the greats have made. Not saying I'm up there yet, but included is a mistake that I too have made, is going too much too soon with the animal. Whether I'm teaching sit or to run through an agility course or to introduce a cat to another cat, is take a big step back. So letting them out and, okay, it's not going well. It's information. That's okay. So I would say take a step back, maybe put up cats can jump baby gates. So maybe put the little guy in a part of the home where, maybe he has these 2 rooms and he can be set up in here. Yeah. And then slowly begin introducing them to each other again.
So keep them separate for a nice, healthy period of time.
And then that would allow your older cat to have time to get away from it.
Yeah.
I don't mean to call him an it. Your baby kitten. The situation is
He's actually much larger than she is now.
Oh.
So but he did
She's
arrive.
like, get me out of here.
Yeah, he arrived as a kitten.
Yeah, so I'd say to separate them, to allow that kind of like, okay, we need to decompress before we step forward with it. Okay. And so right now, if your older cat is like up here, because he's like, get that kid out of here, we need to bring him back down to like so you could give him a organ pool full of catnip.
I might do that.
Or Yeah, but again, keeping them separated, one, it allows that decompression and that like getting everyone back to their kind of natural state.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of take it from the top a little bit. So what that would look like is, okay, we're going to first maybe switch towels. So this towel this cat sleeps on, and this towel this cat sleeps on. So now we'll trade them so they can get each other's scent. And they could probably smell each other through the door, whatever your setup is.
Yeah.
And then just kind of gradually, okay, if you want to go really crazy with it, I've seen people like replace their door with a screen temporarily so the cats can see each other through the screen. So it's kind of just, it was funny. We, Dr. Alex mentions the zoo world, and that's where both of us started there. So that's how we would introduce the wild animals too, is just start with barriers and kind of slow exposure. And hopefully that will build up a little bit of
Yeah.
sanity back into your cat.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So,
Happy with that, Heather?
but well, like I said, there's so many moving parts. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a general answer.
They
but
have kind of been separated
Yeah.
because the house is large enough that they have different places where they can go. So the older cat does have safe places to go to get away from the younger one. And,
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So, but I might just make it more rigid.
Yeah, lots
Yeah.
of vertical spots.
Yeah.
Access to get away from each other. I have two different, because it's dogs, but I've had multiple cats many times. And cats are difficult. But just having two dogs in the same household, they get along great. They play together, but I purposely still give them separate time because it's like, I'm like, I lash out at my family members. It's just like a social thing. So
Yeah.
I would take a big step back and
Yeah, just
go
be
from there.
much more intentional about making sure the space is divided.
yeah, I would start
keeping
there.
them
And like I
away.
said, that's a general answer. So
Okay. All
it's
right.
hard to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Nikki, do you want to talk about Yo-Yo at all?
Yeah.
I think we got some footage of him yesterday. So just give us a little backstory here and how
Okay.
you're working with him.
Yo-Yo is awesome. I just looked up in our database. She came to us in mid-August, which was just so sad because we all come in every single week and are like, oh my God, she's still here. I have the weekend off and I come in every Monday. I'm going to botch this quote from Good Will Hunting when Ben Affleck at the end says to Matt Damon, like, she want to show up and have you not be there. She just deserves so much better. We all love her to death. So I joke that she is our resident cadaver dog. That dog is nose to the ground always. So she's a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of a working dog. So she's also pretty cool. She puts me outside of the box. I'm a dog trainer. I like using food because it's easy. A lot of dogs are willing to work for food. Yo-Yo's not a huge foodie. She eats, but she's kind of like, oh, it's worth like 5 cents. Where to some dogs, it's like, oh my God, that's a $50 bill. Give me that piece of kibble. So, I had to think outside of the box. Okay, what is motivating to this learner? And that's basically what it is on paper, is Yo-Yo's our learner. What would motivate the dog? And she's really motivated by the environment. So sniffing, being outside. So we do what's called the pre-MAC principle, which is kind of like saying eat your veggies before you can get a dessert. So it's trading one behavior, a less desirable behavior, for something that the dog wants to do. So an example with Yo-Yo is I want her to check in with me, as opposed to me just being like a big anchor on the end of her leash. Like, you go sniff, do your thing, but like check in with me. It comes in, it's so useful because if I'm teaching a dog to sit or to run an agility course, I need that dog to check in. So I'll wait for her to check in, and then we get to walk a couple steps and go sniff. And then, great, we're going to go say, let's go, and we'll go again, and I'll wait for the check-in, and then we have more access. So you can do a lot without food, too. It's the challenging but fun part of the job. So
How do you get them to check in?
we market. So I like to use a clicker, but you can also use your voice. If you're a dolphin trainer, you could use a whistle. So it's just kind of a sharp sound. Or if you have a deaf animal, you can use a light. So it's essentially just a stimulus that tells the animal, yes, that's what I want you to do. And the way that we set that up is we pair it. So if I'm just using a verbal marker, if I want you to wave your hand in the air, and every time you do, I'm like, yes. And then I give you $5, you would soon know that, okay, whenever Nikki says yes, I'm getting a $5 bill.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're like Yo-Yo and you wouldn't work for $5. So we'd have to do something better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a lot of pairing, but it's learning theory is unanimous across all species, humans, dolphins, rabbits, which is really cool. Because theoretically, if you find a motivator and you can reinforce the learner, then you can teach something, anything, except humans. I don't train them.
Let's get Yo-Yo a home. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's beautiful.
So, Nikki, anything else before we let you go and get back to work today?
I don't think so. I could ramble about this forever, but
No, but we did this last year with you too. Remember?
I know, I was
You didn't want to
sweating.
come on camera like, Nikki, you're going to be fine, and then
and
I
we
sweat
learned so
every year.
much.
I did jumping jacks in the bathroom. a couple minutes.
But it's a fascinating job.
Yeah,
that
it's
you have.
I really love it. I'm really lucky to be here. We have such a fun team, and I always joke that I'm a big dork about team camaraderie, and because that's really what it is. It's not one person doing one thing and saving all the animal. It's really everyone is a moving part here, and everyone works together. And we need volunteers. Our volunteers are so helpful, and it's just really cool to see how the whole ship runs and what every different person's experience brings into it. So.
Well, we appreciate the work you do
Yeah,
and the
thank
time
you
you spent
guys.
with us today, Nikki. Happy holidays.
Thank you. You too.
All right, we'll be right back after this with Jane Young. She's the Director of Development here at Cape and Animal Aid. Nikki, thank you again.
Thank you.
And thanks.
Back once again at Cape and Animal Aid for a special edition of Cape and Today. Heather and I are now joined by Jane Young. She is the Director of Development here at the shelter. How are you, Jane? Good to see you
Great.
again.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And us.
So, Jane, we wanted to have you on to talk about a couple specific things,
Sure.
right? Of course, Suneva alluded to this earlier, but the foster program.
Born and then old enough to be spayed, so that's really a long-term commitment. They have them for 8, 12 weeks. So they really get attached to these guys. They take great care of them. And then we have fosters who will take for a weekend. If we have a long stay dog like Yo-Yo, who's been with us for a long time, getting her out of the shelter is a huge benefit for her, just for her stress level, see some different things, kind of experience a home, that kind of thing. So it runs the gamut of commitment and the amount of time that they're spending.
Are there particular things you're looking for when there's a prospective foster family, like ideal home situations or startup situations?
No, I mean, no two animals are the same. So we need all different environments. We have some dogs who really, really would benefit from a foster home because they like being around other animals. So we're looking for people who have other dogs in the home. And then vice versa, we've had dogs who don't like other dogs, and we need foster families that have no pets in the home. So all of that is great. We need all types of people, all types of families. Kids are great. You expose the dogs to children in the home. People who have cats and are fostering dogs, we get to see how the dogs do with the kitties and vice versa. So all that stuff is great, and it takes all kinds of kinds.
Do you particularly need foster families over the holiday?
It depends on our population. So a lot of times we'll see who we can get into foster. If we have anyone willing to take just for Christmas or New Year's Day, then great. It just helps bring down the number of animals that we're trying to care for here on the actual day. So a lot of times our volunteer pool will step up and do that too. So we've got great volunteers who do above and beyond even what they do here day to day when they're coming in.
How long can a fostering situation last?
We don't have a cap on it. So
Okay.
if you're willing to hold on to them until they're adopted, then great. We've had I think it was last year or the year before, we had a dog who was in foster for a few months. It was just an older dog. wasn't really getting the traction that she needed, so they were able to keep her for that long, so they did.
So James, so how does that work now? So a foster family has an animal, and then someone from the outside looking in, they're visiting Animal Aid's website. Just like, how are they learning about the animal? Do they visit the foster family?
Yeah. So we usually we do a lot of reach outs. We know who's on our foster list, who's approved to foster. So when we have an animal that we're targeting to go into foster, we usually know what our pool looks like and who would be a good fit for them. So we do a lot of direct reach outs. Are you willing to take them? Here's kind of their info, their background, what we know about them. Are you willing to take them on? And again, sometimes if we know the length of time, that can be helpful for people to decide whether they're able to do that or not.
So I think you were asking how the family meets the foster.
prospective
Oh, yeah,
family,
yeah.
But I'll
Yeah.
tell you, so I met Ruby over video.
Oh, no kidding.
Ruby was in a foster
Yeah.
home.
Oh, when they're adopting.
Yeah. And
Yep.
our first look at Ruby was on your site
Yep.
over video.
Yeah.
And it was
Yep.
just so much fun.
Yeah,
to
we
see
do
her
all of
playing
our
around.
initial touch bases with adopters over Zoom. It's just that they can ask questions, see the dog or cat in the home before they have the foster bring the animal here.
Yeah, and it was a great way to see our dog interacting with others and playing. And I was like, that dog is happy and
Yeah.
funny, and she proved.
There
to be
really
all
is a
that.
big difference between seeing them in the shelter versus in someone's house. You really do get to see how they become part of someone's family.
Yeah.
It can make a big difference for some people.
And we should mention too that if you've seen clips that we're playing every now and then, that's of Yo-Yo, who's an adoptable 11-month-old
She's
pup
awesome.
from Alabama. Do you know what breed Yo-Yo is, Jane?
Oh, your guess is as good as ours.
Yeah, you
She's
never
super
know, right?
cute. I don't know. She's just like
She looks like a
little-
lot of fun.
She looks
She
like
is
my
so
dog
much
Ruby.
fun.
She
She's
does.
very
Isn't she? Yeah.
playful. She'll take a toy and she'll whip it up in the air and she'll grab it and run around and she'll do zoomies in the yard. She's a lot of fun. We're all kind of stumped. I don't know. She's a great dog.
It's just a matter of time.
Has she spent any time in a foster home?
She has not. She would definitely benefit from foster, and she is available for foster to adopt, which is another really big program kind of within the foster program. So people who are not sure if she's going to be perfect for them can take her home for 2 weeks. We take her off the website, so we're not taking other applications at that time while you have her. See how she does in the home, decide if you're willing to kind of then take the plunge, so you have some time to let her settle in. Because again, sometimes they first come home and they can change a lot in 2 weeks. So you have like a little bit of time, see if she does adjust to your house before you decide if it's going to be a good permanent placement. So,
In the
good
meantime,
option for people.
Yo-Yo is here in the meantime.
Yo-Yo's here.
And if someone wants to inquire about Yo-Yo, they can just call or visit the shelter.
They can visit the shelter when we're open to the public. Our application is all online. I don't know if you guys talked about that, but you can apply from home anytime. You do not have to come in. Once we approve your application, we would schedule a time for you to come in and visit her. So yeah, don't have to stop in, don't have to rush here if you're looking at her. She's great, but you can submit that application from your couch. Yeah.
Now, looking forward to 2024, one of the biggest events, maybe the biggest event Cape and Italy hosts, is the Winter Ball.
Yeah,
Is that on for?
It's a favorite. Yeah, it is on for next year, March 2nd, first Saturday in March, 2024. We're at Danversport, beautiful venue.
It's gorgeous there, yeah.
We're super excited. We are really in the throes of planning it now, and it's going to be a really beautiful night. Our theme is a Starry Night theme, so it'll be very celestial and great. I don't know. Yeah,
It's
a
a
lot of fun.
fantastic
It's so much
event.
fun.
It's huge.
It is.
Not only is it great to attend, because I've participated a few times in this too, the auction goes on as far as the eye can see. And they're fantastic gift packages and prizes and everything else too. Then of course there's the live auction aspect as well.
Yeah. We have an amazing committee. They do a great job collecting all kinds of stuff. So whatever you're into, there's probably something there for you. A lot of fun and just highlights why we do what we do. And yeah.
And it's a big, big night, and tickets move really,
They
really
sell
fast.
out
Like it's
every
going to
year.
sell out in a matter of minutes, literally. So I guess so. You're not sure when tickets will be available.
Probably mid-January,
Okay.
and they do sell out fast, and we are encouraging people to buy tickets as soon as they get their invite in the mail because they will sell out. We cap them around $325 every year, and that's about all it can hold with all of our auction items. So yeah, would definitely get your tickets early if you want to come.
Jane, anything else you want folks to know out there as we close out 2023?
No, just adopt, foster, volunteer if you can, whatever you have the capacity to do. It makes a difference, and it really, like Nikki was saying, it takes everyone. So no matter what it is, we appreciate it, and we appreciate our community too.
Yeah,
You guys are great.
we appreciate the work you do, certainly, and
much.
spending time with us today too, to learn a little bit more about, especially the foster program, and all the different facets of what go on here at Animal Aid. So, amazing work that you all do. So we're really happy about that. Are there any more personal questions, or?
Okay, so I had my questions for the behavioralist.
Oh,
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
She's around.
great.
Yeah, we can find her afterwards. So.
Yeah,
Continue
exactly.
to poke her.
Jane, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thank
once
you.
again. And folks, that puts a bow on Cape Ann Today for 2023. Heather, it's been a fun year. We got to
Yeah.
visit some favorite places. It was an election year in this city as well, and the 400th
was.
anniversary for Gloucester. So
It's a big year.
yeah, 1623 was out all over the place, and we can't wait to do it all over again for you in 2024. We want to thank all of our guests today, Suneva Buck, Dr. Alex Beckett, Nikki Petronio, and Jane Young, and of course our crew as always, lighting and camera, Mike Dennis, on camera, Alec Palmer, floor manager, Alana Horn, production manager, Tyler Hurinson, technical director, Tom Manning, digital director, Bridie O'Connell, operations coordinator, Emily Games, executive director, Eric Archer. Heather, thanks to you as always.
Can we thank the 3 Ys? The
Go right
puppies,
ahead.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
The 3 puppies who were here with us. They were wonderful. And that little kitten, Fish, was a star too. Fish is right over there now.
Yeah. And that's it. No shows until 2024. Keep your eyes on our social to stay up to date on where we're going to be next. Until then, happy holidays from all of us at 1623 Studios. We will see you in 2024.